Welcome to the Hacking Your Health podcast with Ben Kenning and Dave Kennedy. Two guys heading out to hack body, mind, business, and beyond. We are here to provide a single source, bullshit-free guide to understanding your body and how you can live better for longer.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy.
And this is a short intro to what will be a very special episode.
Special edition episode.
This is, as you probably all well know, episode 100. Probably for the longest time, Dave and I spoke about doing something completely different for this. It just happened to fall in line with the recent Colorado event. The original plan was that Dave and I would host a podcast with everybody who was there. For anybody who has been up to date with the goings on and Dave's visits to the ER whenever we were in Colorado, Dave actually didn't make it to the day that we were due to record the episode. Some quick thinking, I decided that I wouldn't be able to do it by myself because I couldn't host by myself. I didn't feel like it would be right, especially for this episode, to host without you. So we decided that we would just leave it up to everybody who was there. And I mean, it's Monday the 17th of July, so this will be released tomorrow. And I genuinely have absolutely no idea what has been recorded.
We've intentionally held back so that it would be a surprise for both of us when we release it to the world. We probably should have filtered it to make sure there's no shit talking in there, but
there is definitely going to be shit talking. I did put Kev Codu and Mike in as a replacement.
I feel like they're responsible. I feel like they're kind of responsible.
I think one of them is responsible.
Kevin's definitely responsible.
Well, I wasn't going to say which one. But yeah, no, just as, I guess, I want to say give a little bit of structure to it, but I don't know that you or I bring any structure to it anyway. No. So Kev Codu and Todd will be hosting this week's episode. Genuinely, I have absolutely no idea what has been said or what the conversation was like. Shout out to Ryan for recording it, putting it together.
I feel like it was really bad, and it was really, really bad. Ryan would have said something, or would he?
I mean, so much of me wants to say yes, he would, but at the same time, there's probably a part of him that's like, nah, fuck these guys.
That's right.
I'm going to keep it in. He hasn't said to me that there was any bits that he had to take out. We didn't set any rules. We didn't set any guidelines. We just sort of. Essentially what happened on the night, I did a bit of an award ceremony. I thank you to everybody who was there. I handed it over to Kev Codu and Mike, and I disappeared and I went and did some check-ins. And then about an hour and 40 minutes later, everybody came back. So I don't even know how long it is.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you to Ryan for putting this together. Thank you to Kev Codu and to Todd. Todd and Mike are the same person. If you think I'm talking about two people and you haven't caught up on that, Todd and Mike are the same person. Thanks to everybody who was there, who joined us, for everybody who contributed. And thanks to everybody who has listened up until this point. 100 episodes in, 100 hours of your life listening to Dave and I share our journeys, share our struggles, share our wins, and everything that's been going on. It has been an adventure, to say the least.
It's crazy. I've changed a lot. I've learned a lot. I've cried a lot. I've had broken legs and sore bones and massive gains, and I appreciate everybody listening through our journeys as both of us have, progressed in this thing that we call life and continue to learn more. So we look forward to another 100 episodes, and make sure you stay tuned to the end where we're going to unveil the new intro and outro to this special edition episode, right?
We are. Again, as soon as we're done recording this, I'm going to send it over to Ryan, so he's going to do everything for the first time. Yeah, thanks again for listening. And over to Kev Codu and Mike, I hope.
Appreciate you all. Thanks.
Yo, I'm Kev Codu.
I'm Mike Shabori.
And welcome to
We Hack Health,
the Hacked episode. So we're here in
Colorado Springs.
We're not going to do this back and forth.
All right. We're doing an IRL event, and this is technically the fourth one, I suppose. counting Germany. So it has evolved from staying in hotels for a couple of days to an Airbnb where we had a lot of fun, a lot of bonding over 4 days, to the point where now we're doing a week because 4 days just wasn't enough. And now we have 10 more people than we did prior from Nashville.
And the
Right.
Hacks group?
In the Hacks group, which is brand new. So welcome, Hacks.
Represent.
So what did everybody expect when they came here from people who have never been to one of these events?
I guess that's me. Staunch or something, right? I expected something like this, but not like this. I don't really know how else to explain it, and my voice is going again, I'm sorry. But I was expecting to meet a bunch of awesome people and hang out and spend some time eating some good food, lifting some weight. And what I watched and what I was lucky to be a part of was a bunch of people. The best example I have is we talked a little bit earlier today about how, Ben finds a way to unlock stuff in us that we already have and we don't know about.
Mhm.
And there's an old cliche in the military especially about who motivates the motivator. Ben has a coach. Ben is our coach. But at the end of the day, we motivate ourselves too. And what I got to see this week was a bunch of people walking into stuff they've never done before or are nervous about or worried about and just sending it. Motivating themselves, finding something that they didn't know they could do or they didn't think they could do. Ben was around for some of it, but that was just us looking inside of ourselves and going, I can do this. And I did not expect to find that. I expected to find some weightlifting, but not that level.
What I find with Ben, and it's hard to do when you're doing it by yourself, is the I don't quit mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, like, now, do you see that in people, or?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I think that it's a learned behavior, and Ben is amazingly good at teaching it.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's part of the coolest part about this week for me has been seeing all the different ways that he's found to impact other people. I have a very different training style than most of you, right? And he works with that. He finds a way to work with that. And it sounds like from all the conversations I've had with everybody, he finds a way to work with everybody. Right? He finds a way to really index on what you need, what you want, where you want to be, and help us get there. And then we all kind of lift each other up too. We all win together. And I think that's one of those things that really resonates with me from this week is that as a group, obviously as a group we're stronger than as individuals, but this is a group that I think has some special juju going on.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, from somebody who's at the first one from Cleveland, Jason, Ty, Daniel, what are your thoughts from then to now?
It's a big difference. I mean, the first time around, we were still kind of filling it out and trying to figure out what this was going to be and what this was going to look like and what we were all going to get out of it. And after having done several of these, taking notes along the way, even throughout this entire event, Ben was coming to me saying, "Write this down. I don't want to forget this. Let's make this better next time." Right? And it's that kind of mentality of let's always make these better and continually improve. It's just is in everything that he does and everything that he teaches. Right? So it's really not a surprise that this has migrated to where it is today, which is pretty far from where we came and really amazing.
Right. I mean, when I went to Cleveland, I was probably in the group for like 6 weeks. Wasn't very active in Discord or anything like that. But from the beginning, it was said, this is a movement, right? So, we went from 6, 8 people to now we're at 25, right? So it's evolved, definitely, and it keeps getting better every time because of the effort and care Ben puts into it. So it's like we try to pay him back with the effort and care we put into what he wants us to do. Right?
Yeah. I mean, first time none of us had met in person.
Right.
We hadn't met Ben in person, so it was just interesting from that aspect. And then, like Jason said, we've definitely changed things from the first one, just learning as we go. But it's also cool now that we can welcome new people in,
Right.
as we go. And it's just
Totally different from the hotel experience to the Airbnb, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that was cool when we started that in Nashville, and we're continuing it now and it'll be interesting to see what the next one looks like year 5 from now.
Right.
So Ben's been coaching for 5 years online exclusively, I think, somewhere around that.
Something like that, yeah.
Began in COVID.
And I think when he started, his clientele was completely different. He had a lot of geographically dispersed individuals, and of course, everyone has learned a lot from him. But I think over these past 2-3 years, seeing 26 people or whatever the count is here in person, growing to something this large, all willing to step away from their families, step away from their jobs, take time off to come here. And he'll say it over and over again, it's about the community. I mean, this is a perfect example of that, right? This is the community. And I don't know, I've now been with Ben for almost exactly a year, and I look around at every one of you and the motivation that you bring to this group, and you're the reason I'm going to do another year and another year, right? It's that community that I think keeps people. And folks may come and go, and I think if you look at the folks who are the most active in this community, the folks that are showing up on the calls, folks that are posting in Discord and putting way too many food pictures in, those are the folks that are here or want to be here, will be at the next one, and that's that true definition of community. And I think that's why we all show up, and
We have a shared interest and a shared goal.
Yeah.
Right? We all want to get better, right? We all if we need help, or if we need struggles, we share a failure. It's cool, and, because everybody's supportive, and you also have accountability, and you also have, different food ideas. Whether you like what you have or what you see, it's you can vary off that and, create something different and share that, and then somebody else can, carry that on.
Yeah.
So we all have a lot of shared ideas, that we can pull together and then build off that.
And the cool thing is, if it's something that you've struggled with, somebody else has probably struggled with it too.
Right.
They figured out a way to overcome it, or they've figured out what works for them, and they can offer up the suggestion like, dude, I was struggling with this last week. Here's what I tried.
Absolutely.
Right. And then you can take that and go forward with it.
I agree.
And there's one thing like seeing somebody like Ben, who's perfectly cut and shaped and swole, incredibly handsome for a male, to go like, oh, I want to be like him. But whenever I see, everybody else, their transformation in the group, and it's like, if they're doing it, and I'd love to be that guy someday. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if he's doing it, that's what I try to do with teaching, right?
You're not that guy someday. You're that guy now.
You're that guy now.
Yeah.
You've changed now from the point where you were when you first started. You're a totally different person.
Yeah, I feel that way.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about this, right? So it's no secret that right now it's, not the most popular thing to try to be in shape, right?
Yeah.
It's better to just be kind of, sleepy and lazy and bigger and, eat the junk food and sit on your couch, watch TV, watch Netflix and zone out, right? And every time that you step foot in the gym, you're saying, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make a change. I want to see my grandkids grow up. I want to be healthier. I want to be stronger. Whatever it is.
Yeah, Tyler. I mean, I know I've made a change. When I first started, I was 25 pounds heavier and an alcoholic. I drank every day. Now I got my life under control and everything's just infinitely better than it was. And because of Ben, because of everybody in the community, I sit there and I talk to certain people, either in the group, in public, or I'll say whatever, or and or look, I'm not shy, and or some people reach out, or some people, if I'm struggling with something, people reach out to me and ask me if I'm okay or whatever. It's like, you know what, and that's what this is what it's all about. So you can reach out to any single person, and anybody will reach out to you. And I don't know. I think that's my favorite part about the community. Mm-hmm. Like even Phil. I love Phil.
I think you kind of touched on it. It's more than just what you're doing in the gym or what you're doing with your diet.
I think the gym is like the last part of it.
It really
is. It's like one tool, but it's just, for me, it was just kind of a complete makeover type scenario, right? It's correcting the diet mistakes, getting into the gym to do the right things, but then it's also cleaning up my sleep and other stuff, and then what that has done for so many other parts of my life, right? We're going to do this incline tomorrow, and that's something that was never on my radar, even when I started 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And now it's like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. It's I'm going to do it, and to take on those types of activities, to do the different things that I've been doing, since I started over the last 6 months. It's very transformational, and it leads to so many other parts of my life being better relationship with my wife, better productivity at work, better work-life balance in a lot of ways, just because when I am working, I can be more productive, and those types of things. So to me, that's just been the biggest change, how much it's done outside of, like I said, just the gym or just the diet.
The gym's just a small part of it. And that's awesome that you feel that. Because
I wait to see your garden when it blows up. that's gonna be cool.
And that's another thing, right? So as we've grown in this, we've developed relationships with each other. We've, kind of delved into each other's hobbies a little bit. Each other's, talking about each other's kids and family. Man, how's your work going and stuff like that. It's not just, we're not just talking about chicken and rice and how much you bench, right?
Look, we're talking about
that
too. Rice all day.
We do that too. And often there's arguments about things like air fryers and protein and things like that. But, we talk about life and not just the struggles in the gym or whatever, but mental struggles or even wins, big wins at work or big wins, yeah.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head, because we all submit our check-ins every week, right? We have like 70 cells every day that we fill out about different parts that we're tracking, different things. And I don't know about you guys, but I'll have questions for Ben about, how many sets should I be doing of this, or form check on that, or am I pushing hard enough here? Ben's never asking me, did you do this many sets? Did you do this? Did you do that? He's looking at everything else. He's looking at the diet. He's looking at what vital statistics are. He's looking at, are you, just doing the things and checking the boxes. But here, when we're all in person, he can dial those gym things that, like, 90% of us are thinking, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what Ben's going to be focused on. Yeah. But really, he's focused on all the other stuff.
Right.
But seeing him in real life, going through the motions, going through the exercises, he can really help us tune those things that a lot of us are hyper focused on. But at the end of the day, like, it's the all-encompassing lifestyle that he's
like.
trying
I'm not super awesome at getting my check-in sheets done. So, but even if I'm not, I still weigh myself every day. I still do what I'm supposed to do. I still do my nutrition. I still track my calories. And so Ben will, text me, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's the update? I'm just like, yep, all good. Just doing this, trying to, if I'm struggling with something.
Where's your check-in?
He kind of quit asking me that. And
yeah, I was gonna say that was what you were talking about, with how he doesn't ask about what workout you did or how many reps you did or how much weight or whatever. He's looking at the evidence of the effects of what you're doing. He doesn't have to care, because if you're not doing it, the evidence is going to show you.
Yeah.
Like if I put a check-in photo and I was just like, maybe like, all right, maybe things aren't going the way they're supposed to be going.
So we do the check-ins for a reason.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
So that was my initial. Sorry. I was gonna say that was my initial draw to.
Oh, really?
Through Dave and the podcast, I was like, evidence-based. This scratches the itch and makes sense to me. This is the first time anything in the fitness world has made sense. I dove in, but then found the community. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then, sorry. And, with the community, I think for most of us, we're in the InfoSec world.
Yeah.
Being online and finding community is second nature. It's what we do.
Right.
But my wife, who's not in the industry or in InfoSec or at all, saw the improvement, saw what we were doing, and was willing to make the jump to join. And
We saw putting
finding community here as well, which has been really awesome. And everybody's been super welcoming, even though she's not.
That's what it's all about.
And it's pretty cool that we've got couples now too, that are joining, because now they're holding each other accountable, maybe kicking each other's butt a little bit. As we're kicking each other's butt, they're
I'm
also
training my assassin right now.
It's like,
Y'all know, y'all find me in a river.
If I was welcome, everybody's welcome. You know what I'm saying? All good.
This episode.
Yeah.
If there's a way to go, though. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
Yeah.
you got to go by the somebody you love. Text it.
and that's the cool thing.
You
about
missed your
this,
check-in.
right?
It's super cool.
They talk about spheres of influence. They talk about circles of influence, right? We've all found this through various means, whether it be social media or seeing somebody's post or whatever. Our changes, I should say, are influencing other folks, whether directly or indirectly, right? They're seeing the changes. They're seeing not just the bodily changes, but the health changes, the mental changes, the happiness and attitude changes. And they're starting to ask questions too, like what's different about them, right? So then they're probably asking all of you, like, what's going on with you? You look great, whatever. And now they're starting to be influenced, right? You're making a positive influence just by what you're doing.
Absolutely.
My man over here just did 4 million pounds worth of volume in 1 year.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, think about that. 4 million pounds in 1 year.
Light work.
Yeah, I mean that's no small feat. You know what I mean? That's an awesome target that he hit.
Right.
And he's looking to break it the next year. Yep. I mean,
It's a huge sign to commitment.
right.
I think that's.
But he's already looking forward to it, and he's going to do it. I have the utmost faith that Kev's going to break not even just 5 million, probably 5.5.
Well, with his new PRs, for sure.
Yeah.
But he puts in the work, and that's all you got to do. Discipline, consistency, put in the work.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
What's a lifestyle habit that you see now versus before you started? I wake up every morning and work out at 4:30, right?
Same.
Yep. Same.
What's something that you couldn't or didn't see yourself doing before you started this?
answer?
That's now wrong.
Can I answer?
Let someone else answer.
Okay.
I actually have something.
Yeah.
Being part of this community is its own mini, not lifestyle, but it's a massive shift in how I approach fitness. I've always been a solitary lifter. I go to the gym alone. That's my time, to do what I need to do. And just having a group of people around me who can share in the wins, the massive common Adam L's, all the other, every part of it, that's its own lifestyle change for me. Because I've never looked for community in fitness. It's always been, those are those people over there, right? Having lifting friends is a very, very new thing for me.
Same.
Yeah.
I'd have to say it's awareness of everything, right? When when you're trying to do stuff on your own, you're not aware of all the weights you're putting up. You're not aware of maybe your weight on the scale or the food you put in your mouth. You're paying attention. I think that's the biggest change for me is awareness of everything, right? The effects of having a beverage too late in the evening, what that will do to my sleep. You might have noticed that before, but the impact, because if maybe you have a harder workout the next day, you're or for me, sometimes doing 2 days. I'm not a young buck anymore. So doing 2 days, I have to all right, well that night before or that day before has to be clean, because the fallout of not being focused that next day is just going to be brutal. It's like a cascading effect. So it's that awareness of what's around and what you're doing. It's how much water you're drinking.
Yeah.
Right. And it's it doesn't have to be just that stuff. It could be how well you're sleeping. Like adding an eye mask, you know, to sleep because you read a study that says it helps with REM sleep and you get 13% better REM sleep. Sure, I'll give it a try. Like those things that you're not paying attention to, you start actually paying attention to everything around.
Yeah, I'd add to that with Jenny and I. It's not just the awareness, but the forethought. Where it's like, okay, we're going away this weekend. We need to go to Walmart or Target to pick up healthy food because we're going to be at this place, and then we're going to go. Like, how are we going to keep our fitness and our health and our nutrition and within our goals going forward, which we never had done before this program.
So how many people here now look at, if you're going to travel, the gym at the hotel you want to stay at?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing I look at.
Yeah.
All the restaurants.
All
Right?
the stuff.
So I want to ask Kyle back a question. It's like, have you ever gone to jiu-jitsu and had a partner to go with and train with? Or have you always just been solo?
I mean, well, jiu-jitsu is a solo sport, but
But you can go with somebody. Like just
you're leveraging other people there to improve your skill set.
And that's what you're doing here?
Yeah, I mean, like that's like going
But
back
do
to
you have a buddy to go with at some point?
jiu-jitsu. No, I mean, you make kind of like this community. Like you go in solo, you don't know what it's about, you're nervous, you're like,
Right.
am I gonna like this? Is this a dumb thing? Did I make a mistake? Come on, like you go through all the 100 questions of like taking that leap forward.
Right.
So it's the same thing, and then you ease into it, and you go at your pace, you evolve, and then like, yeah, I mean, I have some of the best friends that I've had my entire life, you know what I mean,
Right.
in the gym, and they're all different ages and different backgrounds, but like, similar to this community, is like once you're in the community circle, like nothing really else matters. Like
Right.
on the mat, like nothing like matters besides that time, right? So, taking that out to this community, like it could almost be like mirrored onto that. Like when you're in this community, like you don't have to worry about certain things, like of being afraid to ask certain questions. The same thing that I translate to, from jiu-jitsu to this, right?
And I think a bit of a side note, on that as well, right, is we're talking a lot about the WeHack Health community and hacks and BC fam and like the names that we've given ourselves, but I've never been to one of these before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from hacks.
Yeah.
And this has been an incredibly welcoming experience for me, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's been no question in my mind that I'm welcome here. And I think that's one thing that is also really unique about this group. Hi, Coyote. And the kind of people that are attracted to this kind of work and this group is we want to win with each other and we want to see each other succeed.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
a really powerful thing. And like you say, Dave, there are no stupid questions.
No. No, and that's the thing,
yeah.
right? A lot of folks didn't come in with the knowledge base, right?
That's why we're
For many folks, this is a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Health, wellness, fitness, right? We're probably amazing in our fields of hacking and whatever, infosec or cybersecurity or finance or whatever industry you're in, right? But you may have never even stepped foot in a gym. You may have never even thought about things like sleep, water intake, protein. You may have never sat down and looked at the menu of a restaurant and been like, how many calories is this? And now
300 all protein.
300 all protein. And
that's
now,
always the answer.
as we have learned and grown and matured in our fitness journeys, wherever we are, there's just a wealth of knowledge within the group and from Ben and his pool of knowledge that we're all pulling on, and we're all learning from each other and improving and finding our own hacks, right? Mm-hmm. That we can apply to whatever it is, a lift in a gym, a protein hack, a food hack, a sleep hack, whatever. And as we share and we swap those, we're constantly getting better and constantly improving.
Because we always want everybody else to succeed.
Yep. Exactly, and we want, and that's why we share that, right? One of the hashtags is better every day, and that's what we do. Even 1% better, 1% better.
I will say for a group who's focused on, bettering ourselves, lifestyle, community, nutrition. We've been here for 5 days now.
Yeah.
We've had some of the best food.
Oh yeah.
We've Ben hasn't once, I don't think, pointed at a single one of you and said, You know,
Should you
you
be
tracking
eating
that? You doing that? You know, he trusts us that we have. I don't know about all of you, but I have significantly improved my relationship with food.
Yes.
You know, I really do look at it as
It's-
fuel.
And it's not immediate. Sometimes some of us it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
And also stop looking at things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
You go out and you
Yeah.
have a day and you just like have a few beers and it's like, oh, I fucked up. Yeah. It's like now you know. It's like I can make that up tomorrow or the next day or the next.
I mean, I
day.
still get the
Over
feeling
and
where
over
it's like, oh, I can't have this because I'm going to be fat tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not letting the 2 beers or whatever it is derail you.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
me, that's been one of the biggest things. It's yes, there's going to be life events that happen or whatever, but yeah, make it up or just get back on. The thing that Ben talks about is having one foot off the wagon. And I can really relate to that a lot of days. I know where I'm at, but I'll be a little better tomorrow. Make it up or whatever, and to do that, I mean, previously it's. When I would take swings at this, I'd be good for 3 days, and then I'd go off the rails and be like, screw it, diet ruined, start all over.
Right. What's he say? It's like it took you how long to get you that period?
Yeah.
It's not going to take one day to throw you off.
The change isn't going to happen overnight. And too often we're so busy in our lives, whether it be with families or career or hobbies or whatever it is, that we don't take time to like stop and think and look at ourselves, right? We often put our own health and wellness on a back burner. Humans in general, like especially in the United States, health and wellness is kind of a forethought. It's just kind of it's there. Yeah, it's okay. It's Friday night. I'm going to crush this entire large pepperoni pizza, whatever. And this group, especially in this, this journey that we're all on, at least for me, and I'll speak for myself, has really made me kind of refocus in on myself and go, I've made some really terrible choices in the past. I need to like really kind of change course or I'm not going to live to see my grandkids, that kind of thing.
Back on the food, I don't think I've ever been able. I don't think before I would have ever thought I could look at a plate, and tell you how many calories are on it.
Now you feel
or
pretty
how
good
much
about it?
protein is in it.
Yeah.
Or tell you what you could get on what fast food menu that would get you your protein goals at the least amount of calories.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that back to your original question, Kev, is something that something I didn't think I would be able to do before doing.
And it's terrifying to our friends when we do that.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I talked to a girl and she's like, she's like, just because I'm sitting there, calculating everything, putting everything in. She's like, I hate that you do that. I'm like, no, it's not my problem, but I have to do it. but never. But even today, I'm like, Tyler, what should I get? And he's like, all right, you get this, this, and this. I'm like, all right, cool. Because, I'm on, what are you, 100 calories above me right now?
Yeah, we're on 1,700, you're on 16.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not used to, like, I can't remember the last time I've been to, Chipotle? Yeah. And he's like, yep, you can get double this, you can do this, this, this. I'm like, cool. So, I've met, 3 times now?
In person.
Yeah. But it's like, I can talk to him like I've known him for years.
Right.
Same thing with a lot of you.
Right.
You know.
Structure. It comes back to structure and the ability.
Well, we're
to-
comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but I just mean the lifestyle, the comfort with each other, food, everything we're talking about is building structure. It starts with the scaffolding. It moves to a foundation. It moves to building a brick shit house.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things that is really easily overlooked that for me has been a really important lifestyle shift as well.
Right.
Well,
is
I mean,
having
I know with
that
me
structure.
personally, ego gets in the way of a lot of my problems.
No.
But not, being able to ask, and it's like I don't know. So to get like actual informative advice, I'm like asking Phil. Nah, but I can talk to Phil like I've known him for years too, because he can, we can joke around all the time. It's like, you know what, some people, it's
That $100 is still on the table, by the way.
Phil's nothing to do with that.
The cool thing too
Look.
about the food.
Look, that's home field advantage. It's like, fine, whatever.
The cool thing too about the food, I think that we've all learned, that I know I've learned, is you can still enjoy a lot of the foods that you used to eat. I say used to eat before you started really focusing on your health. You just know to like portion it better. Or, to make some substitutions, right? Instead of sour cream, you might do Greek yogurt. Less calories, more protein. Tastes great.
Right.
Just little substitutions and little minute changes like that start to add up over time. When people hear diet and lifestyle change, they immediately think, oh my God, everything has to change all at once. And it's not that at all. You can make little minor changes and little minor adjustments as you grow and evolve and mature in this, and they start to add up. And then what, 2 or 3 weeks ago didn't seem like would ever happen or be natural, now it's just a natural thing. Now when you go shopping in the grocery store, you're making these swaps naturally, and you even find out some new tastes that you enjoy.
It's foresight. I mean, Jenny and I talk every day about our meals, essentially. It's like, all right, we need a light breakfast because we're going to a birthday dinner. It's got to be birthday cake. So I need to plan for the calories for that. And then
So you bank
she
your
wants
calories.
a drink or I want a drink, and got to plan those. And it's like, okay, we need a light lunch. Where can we get the calories within this? And then we need to hit our goals. So what are we going to eat? And kind of plan ahead. And that, like I said, we never did that before. And that's been a huge game changer for us.
It's the concept of adding food instead of subtracting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have less of the things I love. I'm going to make better choices
Right.
about what I have on my plate.
And then averaging everything out over the week instead of worrying about the day. So it's all right, if I need 13,500 for the week, it's a Friday and I have 10,000. It's like, oh, all right. So I can, I can play. I can play here. I can skim here. To have here.
You were in a coma in the earlier part of the week.
Right? Hey, look, I have small calories. So what is it? The aggregation of what? Atomic habits? Anybody?
Plug. Shameless plug. Atomic Habits. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the aggregation of marginal gains.
There you go.
Yeah.
Did we could finish that sentence?
I think one thing everybody's kind of alluding to is we've had a lot of trainers over the years that work with us, and they're like, this is what you do, this is what you eat, right? Then you make some progress, and this is what you do, and this is what you eat. This is really the first community we've been a part of that along every step of that journey, this is why you do this. And this is what that does for you, and this is why you eat this, and this is what that does for you.
Right.
I didn't hear of micros till I was 42. So, never heard the
Micros
term.
being micronutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah. And macronutrients.
Right.
Yeah.
So technically, I'm betting 1,000 because Ben is the first trainer I've ever had. All right. I've never had a trainer. I've never paid attention to nutrition. I used to be able to eat whatever I want. I just went to the gym, whatever. 25 years later, it's like, all right, maybe I should, have somebody else help me because clearly whatever I'm doing ain't working. Luckily, got Ben. That was my gratefulness.
I heard him say in a talk once, he's like, this is the worst business in the world to be in because you're training people to take care of themselves. You know what I mean? And to be self-sufficient, have the knowledge that you have, so eventually they do it on their own. But we've never had a trainer that shared that knowledge. They always keep it to the chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really hard to take that and run with it.
I
It's
think
the
that-
first time it's like, you could do that.
That might be part of why this system and Ben work so well with us is, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but the best thing a security analyst can do is analyze themselves out of a job. If you manage to secure an environment so well they no longer need you, that is the biggest gold star you could possibly put on your resume. And Ben's in that same business of trying to do that, trying to get his clients and his friends to a
Right.
place
He told me that.
where they don't even need him anymore.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He
But-
literally told me that the first
Yep.
call.
Yeah.
That was a big
So discovery,
this
right?
is the right guy because
Yeah.
he was like, I do a 1-year program, and I'll be honest, I don't want you on my program next year because if I haven't trained you and given you the knowledge you need to live your life from that point forward, I failed. And it's cool to see that others have gone beyond the year because I want to stay for the community already. But
Right.
knowing that Ben's like, I don't want you here because
Look.
I need to teach you now so I can help other people and you can move on with your
Right.
life. I'm not going to be here forever.
I'm a year and a half deep. Jason's longer.
Yeah.
Tyler's longer. I think Daniel's longer. I think Kev's a little over a year.
Yep.
And it's like I wouldn't give the community up for anything.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, he's talking about teaching us enough to learn and take this on ourselves. And we're all we're all saying the right things right now, right? Like we know what areas we need to focus on. But also, like, again, we took a week of our time away from our family, our jobs, money out of our pockets to come here to go to a gym, and do 2-a-days and go hiking and walk up a crazy set of steps tomorrow, because we genuinely enjoy the time with this community. We genuinely feel that we can learn so much by being around each other, by being here in person. And, for someone who's, telling us like, hey, like, I'm going to teach you everything I know so you can take this and move on. Like, but we're here, man. We're here.
Look,
we're here for this.
Look, I started a new job. I don't even have the time off to take to have this. Okay. And they're calling me up. I'm just like, look, I told you I'm on vacation from here during the hiring process. It's like, I don't care. I'll lose that job because I'm coming here. I was like I will not lose this. I can get another job. I can't get another community like this. You know what I mean?
And when people hear this podcast, if they're
paid actors,
when people hear this podcast, right, there's going to be some listeners that are listening to hear things like, oh, this group of folks met up in the mountains of Colorado to go to the gym. What the right? And it sounds crazy, but hopefully you've heard as you're listening, like, just what an impact all of this has had, right? Relationships with food have gotten better. Relationships with your sleep have gotten better. Relationships with your family have gotten better. Relationships with yourselves have gotten better, right? And we're all here to share in that and to pull into each other's pool of knowledge and encourage each other and lift each other up. I tell you what, frankly, I am absolutely looking forward to the next event, 100%.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, being a stay-at-home mom, a woman, being here in the middle of Colorado, well, I don't know if it's the middle, but whatever. Just being here with a bunch of 20-plus swole guys.
Swole mates.
Swole mates, yes.
Your swole mates.
And then me.
You're a swole mate now, too.
It's like, that's really different. Never, ever did I think that I would be doing this or have done the things that we've done on this trip so far. So that speaks for itself.
I tell you what, it gets better every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely echo a lot of what I've been listening to. This is my first time coming to an event like this. I think I started with Ben in October. I was telling Tyler day one, like, I moved out to Colorado, me and my wife, in 2016, and I kind of left the previous group that I would work out with. So, ripping yourself away from something like that is pretty challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So, to have this, it's super helpful to really, like, get everything you guys have been talking about, back. I posted a picture recently, like, here's when I started, here's where I'm at, and just taking everything that you guys have been talking about and applying it, it's, night and day difference.
Oh, from the Amish shirt? That picture?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I mean, total change.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's like, nobody should be afraid to post any progress photos, because first time I did it, I was like, all right, I'm not going to do that. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And it was like, because why not?
If your progress photos help inspire even one person to begin a journey, continue a journey, whatever, it was absolutely worth it.
Dave mentioned kind of the same thing, progress photo, and he was like, I posted an old photo, and he's like, I don't hate that guy, I love that guy. And to me, that showed where his mindset was and his relationship with himself. And if I posted a picture right now, I would not be saying the same thing, but I hope in the future that I will have that relationship.
You absolutely
with myself, and that's pretty cool.
It's time and consistency.
Yeah. You keep doing what you were doing this week?
I was going to say, I can tell from working out with you.
Okay, man, do or die. Go ahead.
So one thing we haven't really hit on, so we talked about consistency and discipline and nutrition and mindset, but a lot of us, Phil and Kevin are attending the Sean 555 calls, and some of the folks here experienced your first 555 session just this week, although it was more of a 40 something. It was 45 minutes long, and it was intense, but Does anyone have any thoughts on mindfulness and the breath work that we went through? And
I'm stealing a couple of his quotes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, when
like
I saw
hey, because it used to always be about talking about the past, right? And he's like, go into the future 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing today that's going to affect that guy?
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden shit clicked, and I'm like, I can affect that guy in the future by doing things today. That makes a difference.
You can't change the past, but you can affect the future.
Yeah.
Yep. I think one of the ones that stuck out to me was, what advice would you in 5 years give you today?
Yeah.
And the word that bubbled up was be more ruthless is what came up.
Yeah.
And that worries
Rob
me.
more banks.
I don't know what that means yet, but I'm
Why?
hoping it makes sense at some point.
Why would that worry you?
Journal it, write it down. Yeah. I'm just going to sit on that for a while and see what happens with it. Like,
Maybe not tweet it, but
or put it on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
The 555 Club, when I first started, I saw it and I was like, breath work, meditation, like I've never really been into that, never really thought about it. I went to one session, I was like, this is too weird for me, I'm out. And then Ben's like, hey, it's mandatory on this fitness vacation thing we're doing. I was like, I guess, all right. But I was honestly shocked with kind of the impact it really did have. I was like, you know what, I'll try it. Gave into it, and it really... the meditation, the breathing, huge impact
Right.
with just my mood and everything else.
Crazy how little things like that, like breathing, can change like how you feel and like where you are at that moment.
Yeah. Thinking through things and just what it bubbled up in my head.
Right.
It just blew me away. It took me completely off guard.
I think one of the other things, that Sean always does in those sessions is at the end is doing the gratitude log, and doing that on a consistent basis has really helped me, to understand that, where I'm at. I'm in a really good spot in a lot of ways, and we kind of joke about the first world problem, but it helps to level set me, and it keeps me out of that woe is me mode, right? I'm doing all right. I'm doing great. And
one of the first things, like the first time Ben ever brought him in, we did it for like an hour. Remember that?
Yeah.
And the one thing that really stuck with me was, he goes, if you have a negative thought, acknowledge it, let it go. And I was like, all right. And that's one of the things I don't think I'll ever forget.
If we could get 50 of his talks recorded to go to bed at night.
Right, so we get the mornings, and Sean's at night.
50 from Boyd to go to the gym. Yes. I'm telling you.
So, Chris, why 50?
Thank you, guys.
I'm just saying, have a little bit of diversity, but I mean, at least
I mean, once a
maybe
week.
a fresh one every week. Ask both of you guys. It's like
Don't need
nighttime,
52.
morning. Yeah.
when Kevin was talking about the gratitude journaling, I keep them. I do a new one every day, and I have them in my little e-ink tablet, and I've looked back on them, and I write some really silly things sometimes. I'm thankful for weather. Yeah. I'm thankful for family parties. I'm thankful for just and I look at it and I'm like, but reviewing them really puts me back in that mindset of that day that I was journaling them. And some days I'll do 15, some days I'll get 5. But it really does boil it down to the essence of we do kind of focus on the first world problems a lot. We do like to hyper focus on some of the negativity or some of the things that we get caught up in stress and whatnot, and just acknowledging the fact that there's a lot of good things that are going on and a lot of things that you can just appreciate and be thankful for what you have is definitely grounding.
So what I got was, I went to get my nephew a birthday present. I think I was at Newberry Comics. And so I look behind me. So there's a box, there's a gratitude tree. So it's like this little tree put together, and then you rip out these little leaves, and every day you write something down that you're grateful for, fold it up, put it in, it's a leaf, and you put it in the branch. Nice. It's like 180 of them, so it's like 6 months worth. So you sit there, whatever you're grateful for, boom, write it down, fold it up. Nobody knows what it is because it's folded up, but it's for you, and you know where it is because you put it there. But I thought it was a little cool idea just to I don't sit there and journal, but I think I sit there to put something down on paper. Just to do it is important.
Log is like being in the habit of recognizing, like these are the things I'm grateful for, is becoming really aware. At least this has been my experience over the last 9 months of F word, since we're on a blog. These are the things that are actually dire. This is where my life is actually falling apart. Turning my frown upside down isn't going to help this, but I can actually face the truths of these situations, and I have the courage to really move forward into that and to unravel some of those things, because life isn't as bleak as all of these other things would make me feel otherwise. And so maintaining a consistent habit of gratitude helps lead you towards, the light in a lot of respects. And
I agree.
It's pretty significant to have that habit in place for when life actually gets hard or when the storm actually comes, and it's not just first world problems, and you can't just put a positive spin on things.
So we've talked about 555 for anyone who may not know the significance. So it's 5 minutes of breathing, 5 minutes of meditation or thoughtfulness, and 5 minutes of gratitude journaling and logging. And, it's 15 minutes. I have it literally on my work schedule. Sometimes people schedule over it and I get pissed, but it's on my work schedule. But think about that, 15 minutes broken up into 3 small 5-minute sections. And that small part of your day, I like to attend the 11:45 Eastern one. It's right in the middle of my work day. And, taking that 15 minutes of time for yourself to just reset, breathe, be thoughtful, and 5 minutes of gratitude is just really a way to just completely reset, be selfish in those 15 minutes for yourself, but the dividends that you get on the other side of that for the rest of the day or the week or whatever, to me, it's unparalleled. It's really, really inspiring.
I think one of the things that, as I sit here and I listen, it's what everybody else uses in the community. I was and some things I'm that's not for me. That's part of it. I think that's what I think from the outside looking in, look at it as a Swiss Army knife, in the sense that you have all these different utilities of this device you can use, but you don't always use them all. You use the ones that you want to use that impact you and influence you in the ways that work for you, right? And whatever that is. It might be the 555, right? And I might never ever do that, but that's okay, because I use maybe something you don't use, right? Or you don't use, and things like that. So I think,
but it's in your toolbox if you need it.
If you need it, if at any point in time you want to pull out and use that toothpick that maybe no one ever uses, right?
Or if you're not seeing progress in a certain place, right? That's where having 70 cells in a spreadsheet, which includes gratitude journaling and mindfulness and meditation and breathing, it's in there, right? And so if something's not going right, Ben or yourself, you have that ability to start tweaking those things. Do I need to increase steps? Do I need to increase cardio? Do I need to increase
sunlight?
Whatever, sunlight.
Were you here when we did it? All right. So I suggest try it once. Just so you can be all right, if I need it, if I'm feeling this way, whatever, it's there. And now I know what to expect from it. Cool. Or
and fully give into it.
Right. Yeah. But you know what to but you know how you're going to feel after. You know what to expect. So that way you know what tool to reach for when you need it. You ain't going to reach for a ratchet when you need pliers, right?
I mean, many of us are in what would, I think, probably be seen as a relatively stressful industry. Having a quick little 15-minute go-to thing that you can set your calendar on, you can just go to that, and the world's still on fire, job's still doing a thing, whatever it is. But for those 15 minutes, it's you, and you're finding your center, and you're kind of level setting with yourself, where you're at, what's going on, and that's an incredibly powerful.
Yeah, you get to hit
thing have.
equilibrium.
Yeah, and even beyond the breathing is really, really like taking a few deep breaths when you're mad. You suddenly feel better. Not well, I don't want to say you, but like if I'm really mad and I take a few deep breaths, usually I feel better. I may not want to admit it to myself. But
It's like the 4-5-6 method.
Yeah, because I now have a little bit more oxygen to my brain.
Right.
I now have a little bit more, ability to stop and think, and I've kind of taken a step back. And having something like that available is incredibly powerful. Even if first thing in the morning, bad day at work, rough day, like whatever it is, the ability to step back and recenter and just be thankful for where I'm at is a really, really good.
Right. And, somebody like me, I have zero patience for anybody. No. And for something like that, it really helps because, like what you said, like breathing is so underrated, and it's like, all right, it can calm you down and like faster than you got heated about. You know what I mean? So my age, it's really worth it. So it's worth like I said, trying it out one time, just to see what it's about, so you know what tool to reach for if you need it. If you don't need it, cool, but it's there for you to.
Last thing I'll mention about or add to this is about 7 years ago, I started writing down goals for the year on a whiteboard by my desk where I see it every day. And I swear to God, my life is completely different just by doing that. Just knowing like this is my ultimate goals, right? This is what I'm working towards, this is what I'm doing, and just seeing it every day.
Right.
It sounds dumb.
No, it doesn't. Because if you write something down, it's like, all right. But if you say it out loud, then it becomes
you gotta
real.
put what you want out there in the world. For sure.
Right? Exactly.
And that's kind of one of the little things that's not really talked about in the check-in sheet is the little goals section. It's like starting out every week, every Friday, what do I want to accomplish this week, and it's, for me, it's reviewing the check-in sheet from the week before. What didn't I do well? Sometimes that's, I got to remember to set my goals, but that gives me a focus, and kind of narrows in where sometimes it can seem overwhelming, but it's like, this week I really want to dial in my diet, right? I want to get all my meal prep done. I want to get, my dinners laid out and get the weekend stuff planned so that I can be successful. Making sure I got all the food, everything, and just identifying that one goal so that I have that target and not just be overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, I got 70 things here that I got to track every day, kind of thing. But let's focus on this. And that's, I think, an area that Ben has been so helpful in too, is that he's, like you kind of mentioned, he's not nitpicky on anything, right? It's like, well, do what you can, and it's, okay, let's focus on this. Let's get that in there, right? Okay, I got my diet set, I got my meal plan, I'm chugging. Now I can go back and focus on my workouts this week. The next week I'm going to work on workouts, and then I'm going to make sure I get my cardio, and then now that the damn snow finally melted in Minnesota, I can actually get outside.
Well, there's an implicit acknowledgement in that we get out what we put in.
Yep.
Right. This is a direct. It even multiplies, right?
It's the compounding effects, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's also, people, you have a lot of things lined up, you're stressed or whatever, and people start catastrophizing, right? And it's like, all right, I have all these things to do. Concentrate on one thing, get that done, right? And then move on to the next step, and the next, right? And it's like, I forget what the saying is or whatever, but it's like, look, you have to get through this whole forest, right? It's like, how am I going to get through it? And it's like, all right, can you take the step in front of you? All right, take that one. All right, then you move on to the next one. Just concentrate on the problem in front of your face. And then you can move forward. It's not, saying it's easy. Practicing it, obviously a lot more difficult, but it's something you just have to practice. Like anything, you got to do it to get better at it.
That's where setting those weekly goals is this week. That's what's in front of me. Let me get that done.
Right.
And go on.
I propose.
I don't accept that.
Fair enough. I was going to say, David Boyd should give us a motivating speech to round out the end of the episode. When we get there.
Come on, Boyd, line it up.
Whenever that happens,
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Nah, because then I won't be able to go to sleep tonight. I'm gonna go out and do some push-ups or something.
Oh, shit. Are we gonna go rip and tear right now?
Gotta be worthy of the speech.
Good thing you took your free earlier.
We need the meditation guy.
I was getting free.
Or thoughts?
I would love if anyone has anything from this weekend, or just hearing other people's thoughts and achievements and focus areas. If anyone else has anything that they would like to share or comment on, or goals they'd like to throw out there to the ether, and
that'd be cool to hear.
Like, given what you did this weekend, what do you now think you can do going forward? Because I'm pretty sure everybody here surpassed what they thought they could do. Fair enough? So now, can you set your goals a little further than what you thought they were?
Yeah, that was my notes last week with Ben, and my check-in was kind of around, I'm getting close to some, like long-time goals that I've set for myself, and it's almost kind of scary because like I have like this weight goal, and when I get it, I got to get a tattoo. Like, when I said that 5 years ago, it's like that'll never happen, and it's like it's right there.
But it's happening,
and
right?
so now, but that now I'm getting to that point. I'm like,
and you got to post a picture of it.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
Be careful once you get one.
Ask any of us with a tattoo.
But getting to that point of like, I have to reevaluate goals I set at the beginning, because now I have to start looking at that next level, and from where I've come to now has changed where my next set of goals is going to take me. Because it's I'm looking to achieve different things now, knowing
Are you scared to reach your goal?
Well, like I said, now I'm gonna have to get a tattoo here pretty soon. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this, so I'll be okay. But in some ways, yeah, like I mentioned before, that there's so many more things that I can do. So now I feel obligated to do them, whereas I kind of had the excuse before of, well, I just can't do that. I can't. So now I feel that I have to use the life I've been given now in a lot of ways.
Look, success
to the fullness of it.
Regardless of the form, success is scary to people, right? They're afraid to succeed because then they have to go further.
Right.
Right?
The expectations, the bar gets raised.
Exactly. And some people are just comfortable
That's what I like to hear.
being complacent.
I mean, just hearing all of you talk, it's amazing to think that although Ben is a great trainer and great motivator and great businessman, I cannot fathom that he would have ever thought that all of us would be sitting here sharing these types of goals and successes and in person, flying all around the world again to come
Right.
and share this, and all of us being eager to see where we are in 6 months or a year, or how we can continue to motivate each other and ourselves. And I have to imagine that even in Ben's wildest business dreams of a few years ago, and we all know he's got more lined up, but I'm sure he couldn't fathom this. And
Look,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say, from the first one in Cleveland, from a hotel room, to Nashville, where we need to decide, it's like, all right, we need more time together, to walking in and seeing swag bags, flags, like
T-shirts.
everything, right? Like, look at all the effort, attention to detail, and care he puts into just this, because it's that important to him, it's that important to us, right?
Next year, we're all moving in with each other.
You know what, Chris?
Okay, we know how to do that.
You know what, Chris? You're probably not wrong. But I props to Ben, because, look, you go to any other gym, right? Are you going to get this much, like, effort put in? Or are you just going to get, hey, go up and down, do this? You know what I'm saying? But, I don't know. every time we do this, it's more impressive, personally.
I was talking to him on Tuesday afternoon, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but he looked around the gym and he said, "Do you see why I like being a coach?" And that sticks with me, because that's not something you're going to hear from somebody in LA Fitness or he's somehow built something and found something and continues to grow it and really, really nurture it. That is really genuinely special.
Right. So he'll sit there and he'll push you. Now, does anybody here ever want to let him down?
No.
Right. So you're gonna sit there and then you pass out before you're gonna quit, right? You know, because that's how I am. It's like I was like, the last thing I ever want to do is let Ben down.
Not just in the gym, but even in our lives, Jenny.
Right.
We're out. Usually it's her telling me, what would Ben say about that?
Hey,
you're
you
right.
know what? That's awesome. That's awesome because now, you know, she knows them, right? So she works them. So do you. So it's like you guys get that back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, look, you know,
But
what would Ben do?
What Ben would say is, you're not going to let me down. You're going to let your future self down.
Yeah.
You know,
Right?
which is worse, right? You know.
You know, he's just got that ability. You know, obviously we gravitate towards him because, you know, he's great at what he does, right?
One of the things
That's why we're here.
One of the things that sticks with me, either when I'm struggling with decisions or maybe I have that sugar craving late at night, is I look at maybe a Reese's peanut butter cup that's on the counter and I'm like, man, that looks good. But then I remember what Ben says, and it's, what would your future self do?
Yeah.
And
eat that damn clear.
My future self will spend a few extra minutes in the gym.
I thought you say, you know, if you go for a midnight snack, wherever you go, put a book in there instead of a snack.
Yeah. And then go do 5 more.
One thing that's been interesting to me about this week, and I'll say this pretty sincerely, is every person I've talked to here, like, it's not a common thing for me to have so much in common.
Yeah.
With pretty much everybody I've talked to.
Yeah.
Like, we share commonalities, so many of them.
Yeah.
So.
All of us already have a lot in common, you know, but it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like we have similar professional fields, you know, we're here for same common reason, but, you know, have a conversation like Chris is saying is, you know, we can share common, you know, outside interests from this stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that, you know, I come in and I've never met any of you in person. I've only talked to a handful of you online. And day one, you're having conversations about, pick a random subject, and you're talking to someone about it. And then we're tonight, 4 or 5 days later, and you're having conversations about health around the campfire.
You and Jason had a whole conversation about ransomware the first
Yes.
afternoon, right? Like, it just happens.
It's not very often you have so many people that understand you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm an acquired taste.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
we all
I think we all are. That's
We
why
all
we
are
understand
acquired
you. We're all acquired.
Right? Thank you, Chris.
And Ben made a Packer and a Viking fan be roommates. It's
I don't know what he was thinking.
I mean, if they're strong teams,
That's
I
a good stress
understand.
test.
But
That's a really good stress test.
He also started a little bit of a rivalry there with, you know, Phil and Kev.
I mean, Phil moved out of our room, so.
that's plus a Phil, by the way.
But just to contrast a little bit, because I haven't really said anything, with all the wins, with all the successes that we talk about, with all the progress that we make, those are all motivating. But for me, there were 2 instances where people, well, I'll call them out because they did it publicly, both Daniel and Jason shared weeks where they were having a tough time. And it just so happened to be those are tough weeks for me too. I didn't necessarily share it, but to know that there are people in the group having that same time, having those same struggles, it made it possible to dig yourself out of that hole for that week.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have that, call it a mental safety net for your mindset.
You're not alone.
And I can second that, right? The people who are in the Hacks chat saw a micro meltdown from me, a couple paragraphs in our Struggles channel last Thursday. And I think it's incredibly, incredibly helpful to have that place and those people who can celebrate the wins and who are there to reach out and help you get back up. And like, I received multiple messages on Discord from people, text messages, like, that is, it's easy to celebrate a win.
Yes.
It's better to celebrate recovering from a loss, in my eyes, because that demonstrates resiliency, discipline, everything we're trying to build. Having people around you who help you get back up is... Things are easy when they're easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Community doesn't mean a lot of whenever it's easy.
Yeah.
You know, like during our weekly calls, I'm just like, things aren't doing so awesome this week. You know, it's like, you know, I have my failures, I have my struggles. You know, it's like, you know, who else am I going to tell? You know, like, I don't talk to a lot of people. You know, I don't share a lot of things, but I'll share it on my Wednesday meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, dude, things this week wasn't so awesome. You know, what are you gonna do? Yeah. You know, without getting into detail, but you know, there's no better place to share it. You know, I get out of work by saying, you know, I got therapy. You know, because nothing. You know, because this is like, you know, I've had a therapist, and
How many here have had a therapist over the years?
Yep.
Any time in life.
Yep.
you know, I haven't had a better therapy session than I do Wednesdays at 3. You know what I'm saying?
For the weekly team call. Yeah.
Because I get, you know, because I trust everybody around me in that group. You know what I mean? So I'd rather sit there and tell them my problems, because I'll have multiple feedbacks, good, bad, or, you know, what have you, rather than a therapist saying, ask me another question where I don't want to answer. Where it's like, dude, this ain't helping me. You know what I'm saying? No. It's like,
How does that make you feel?
I will say,
not as good as it does on a Wednesday at 3.
I will say though, getting into mindset, like finding a therapist that you can establish a solid relationship with is a
Difficult.
game changer.
Yes.
Ben will be the first one. He was the first one to say, "Not your therapist," and it's right. Like, we're good friends, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But there's like some deeper stuff that we tap into when we really challenge ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally, that someone who is a neutral third party who can just like sit there and go, huh, what does that, like, what implications of what you just said, like, what does that have for the greater spectrum of your life? Or how does that, what does that tap into early on in, you know, childhood or whatever? Like, doing the work to find a good therapist that you can trust and talk to and relate to can be a lifesaver.
Well, it's more of those stacking benefits, right? The incremental changes and the ongoing continuous improvement kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call somebody out. A couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, you know, I shared some of my struggles, and, you know, Jason reached right out to me. Hey, man, what's up? I'm here if you need to talk. You know? And it's like, you know, I think that's the most important and foundational part of this community. You know, stuff like that. And it's like, Jason, I thank you for that. You know, so I sat there and probably gave him TMI, fucking like over the top. I'm like, this. Sorry you asked, but here it comes.
Damn, it's broken.
He's like, what?
Jason's great for that, though.
Yeah, he is. I love Jason. You know.
You're in trouble now.
And it's like, you know,
all right, go ahead. What's your number?
Change your Discord handle now.
He's a good man.
It's going to be harder after the changes they made.
I would have just replied with the Homer into the bushes meme.
That's the great thing about the gym, right? That 45-pound plate is the same 45-pound plate for you as it is for you, as it is for everybody here. It's 45 pounds.
as long as it's facing Inwards.
That's a debate for another podcast.
We talked about this earlier, and I think you guys might actually agree with each other, but to be using different language.
That sounds very likely.
But it's the great equalizer, right? Everybody that steps foot in there, that's the same 45 pounds. It's going to weigh the same for everybody else because it's 45 pounds, right? When you face that and you look at that and you see that and you pick that up, and like you said, when you raise the bar, you're raising the weight of everything that you're throwing into it. All of your effort, all of your struggles, all of your hard work, you're raising that bar every time you step foot in there. I think it's appropriate that, there's thunder rumbling, sitting around a campfire. It's going to sound cheesy, but...
And the thunder rolls.
There's a thunder inside you. There's a fire inside all of you. Every single one of you. I watched every single person around this campfire, and several folks that aren't with us now, raise the bar this week. You pushed yourself past what you thought you were capable of. And that's something maybe Dan, I'm proud of. Like, really and truly. And for the folks that may be listening, that may be doubting about it, hopefully as you've been listening to these folks talk, you've been hearing their stories, maybe there's a little bit of a fire that's been burning inside you. And again, I know that sounds cheesy, that's a stupid cliche, you hear it all the time, but really and truly, I hope that maybe that this has inspired you in some way to go, you know what, maybe I do need to focus on myself just a little bit. Maybe I need to make some positive changes in my life.
Some people are afraid of that change.
And that's the thing, right? There's a quote from the movie and the book Dune. Fear is the mind killer. You have to make the conscious choice to say, I'm not going to give in to fear. Whatever it is, fear of stepping in a gym, fear of making a lifestyle change, fear of reaching out and asking for help. You've got to make that conscious choice to say, no, I'm not going to give in to fear anymore. I'm tired of living in fear.
Different time, different discussion, but fear is a positive.
It can be, yeah, it can be. But in this case.
Fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fear.
Fear keeps you on your toes. Keeps you on your toes, keeps you aware.
Is anyone afraid of the oncoming downpour that's about to happen in like 10 minutes?
I'm afraid of the inevitable significant repair and replacement bills that poor Ryan is going to have if this rain is still out here. So, and the inevitable following on rate increases for us.
Right. Anyways, does anybody have any last words for the podcast? Or anybody that may be listening?
I don't know.
Words of encouragement?
Kev probably has some words.
No, I genuinely, I thank you all for coming out here and sharing your time and effort and commitment and cooking skills and, ears for us to bounce ideas off of, or competition for me to beat Phil and everything. And, it's really been a treasure to spend this time with you guys. And I'm just really looking forward to reminiscing about this trip on a future trip. And,
Inducting some new members.
Yes, inducting some new members. And raising the bar even further.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. Again, we have no idea what was said on this. We're just recording this prior to it. So hopefully enjoyed this 100th episode of the podcast. With the 100th episode, we wanted to release a new intro that I put together. So we bought the royalties to the song and a nice little intro and everything, outro. And I pieced it together with Ben and some snippets and thought it'd be fun. So hope you enjoy this this new intro and outro for our 100th episode and moving forward. And look forward to another 100 episodes. Thank you all for your support, and talk to you soon from Hacking Your Health.
And thanks to you for putting it together.
Hey, happy to. That's what I'm here for. Hopefully it doesn't suck.
You know that there has had to have been some sacrifice, whether it's time or nutrition or whatever it is.
Recording myself talking about having a relationship with my chest.
I'm Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy.
And this is Hacking Health Podcast.